Hey, what's going on? So I'm driving around. It's 4:49 in the morning on a Sunday. Yes, believe it or not, that is what I do in my time off. I drive around and I look at different schools and the layout that they got, different corporations, companies, and buildings. Just realized that just right there tells you how dedicated I am to keeping Americans specifically safe in the workplace and schools, our kids. It drives me crazy that we protect our money with every resource available of technology and weaponry and manpower, but we don't do the same for our kids. Anyways, I'm down here in Texas, and recently Texas came out with some mandates to upgrade school security because of the Uvalde incident. And one of the requirements is that they put fencing around all these buildings. Now, I'm driving around here looking at these different schools, and they've got a lot of schools down here. And fencing is good, but it is a compounding feature. So what I mean by that is you can't just have fencing up and expect it to prevent violence. In fact, what's going to probably happen is you're going to put fences up around all these buildings, and there's going to be an incident, and then guess what? Kids are going to have nowhere to run. Well, they don't have anywhere to run anyways because you tell them to lock down in place, which is the dumbest thing in the world once the threat is inside the building. Lockdowns work if the threat is on the outside of the building, but it does not work once the threat is on the inside of the building. It doesn't. So the next best bet for these kids is to be running out of the school, going to a pre-designated rally location, which you've probably heard me talk about before. However, they are going to have nowhere to run to if they're fenced in. So what we're doing is we're just creating these layers of obstacles. As opposed to preventing somebody from getting inside of the building, we're preventing people from getting outside of the building and away from a shooter. So fencing works if you have somebody capable, if you have an alarm system, if you have some sort of intrusion detection system, if you have a security team that are capable of intervening the person making their way over the barrier or past that obstacle. Most of these fences I'm looking at are just standard 2-inch chain link galvanized fences anyways. I could just hop right over those. Matter of fact, the Uvalde shooter did hop over a galvanized fence. So that right there just goes to show you it's not going to be effective. You don't have anybody intervening once they're detected. Well, first of all, you don't have any intrusion detection whatsoever, most likely. Maybe some cameras, but probably not anything in terms of motion sensor or something to draw the attention of anybody. Then you have nobody to go there to intervene against them. So yeah, you've successfully delayed their entry into the facility or up to the facility, but then what? Nothing. So you're still falling underneath that 4-minute response time on a national average, 4 to 6 minutes for police to get there. It'll probably be a little bit sooner than that, but regardless, if nobody notifies the police, then it doesn't do anything at all whatsoever except provide a false sense of security. Then the shooter gets inside the buildings, starts hurting a bunch of people, and the smart ones try to evacuate. The smart ones try to get out of there while everybody else sits in place, giving their students staplers to attack the shooter with, which is, you've heard me talk about this before, absolutely ridiculous. So fencing is not going to do much in terms of good. You guys are putting all these fences up. Now, if you put up like the bar fencing, the type that you can't just easily hop over, yeah, sure, that could also delay them a little bit. But again, it's not really worth it, I don't think. My opinion is that you can't just use fencing in general. Now, if you want to put up a big wall, like just a straight up barricaded wall, sure, that will work. But I also don't believe we should be turning our schools into these prison complexes. Sure, wall, okay, then I'll agree with that. But putting up fencing, especially 3 foot high fencing, that really does nothing except keep kids trapped. So you really need to be thinking about this stuff. I don't know who's coming up with these ideas, but they're clearly not qualified security professionals with experience. This makes no sense. Don't be wasting hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever it is, putting up fencing around schools. You're just trapping kids inside of the area. Best thing that you could be doing is spending that money towards something like training, education, prevention training, where we're bringing the kids closer together, bringing the staff more aligned with the school's culture and values, because yes, school staff are greatly misaligned in a lot of places. And ultimately, instead of just sitting here analyzing all the students, because students change regularly by the day, by the hour, by the minute, they're too variable. We need to be spending time finding ways to identify misalignment within the staff, the leadership of the organization, because leadership permeates every aspect of an organization. So fencing around schools, not sold on it at all. Not unless you're using intrusion detection and some sort of intervening authority or intervening force capable of stopping some sort of violent behavior or active shooter. Otherwise, you're just trapping kids inside of what we call the kill zone. Something to think about.